child, I first started riding motorcycles just as a way to get around, to visit friends, and then got more interested as you grow and get more strength in your body. All of a sudden I realized what motorcycle racing was. And I started first riding motocross, and I quickly progressed further into road racing. It was a very exciting time of my life. I'm happy to have had the chance to do it. I progressed all the way up to having an international expert license, racing at some of the most famous tracks in the United States. And it's something I can think about right now, and it gets my heart pounding. Since I don't race anymore, I still love to go to the races, and I love to see people racing Buells or really any motorcycle. It's a wonderful sport, one I hope a lot of people have a chance to try. One piece with your body. I guess my dream motorcycle is one where you morph into the motorcycle and the wheels are your hands and your feet and the engine is inside you. So we like to make the motorcycle the closest thing to that it could be. It just, everything is fingertip touch, intuitive, just as if your brain was directly attached to the ground, to the tires. That's the ultimate motorcycle. We all would like to have superpowers and super ways of getting distances. And to me, the motorcycle is the best way of doing that. The closest thing to growing into that kind of a being. We take 3 different perspectives on the motorcycle than most of the other companies do in order to achieve what we want in this motorcycle that's so responsive. Number 1 is the engine. The engine must have this very sweet, well-rounded power delivery. The sound is great too, if you can enjoy that. But it's very important that the engine is connected to the rider and yet doesn't respond too quickly. That the engine doesn't have a life of its own that will surprise the rider. It must be a partner in the riding experience. Second very important thing we do is to have extremely light wheels. We've gone to great lengths and done designs that no one else is doing because we know that the roads of the world are bumpy. It's a rough world that we live in. And your attachment when you're on a motorcycle is through those tires. They're like your feet and your hands if you were climbing, rock climbing. You don't want them to let go, so they must be very light. They must follow the road, ripple along with the road, never lose traction. So we go that route with very, very light wheels. The third thing we do is go to great extremes to centralize all the mass in the motorcycle so that the motorcycle and you can be spun by the input to the tire very quickly. So our shock absorber, our muffler, a lot of the components that you don't ever see located around the middle of the motorcycle are there. What you see out in the extremities, the wheels are very light. So the rider in the center of the bike, when the rider puts his input into the tires, the bike just snaps at his response. It makes the bike a very wonderful part of your body. Well, the engine is so important to the way the motorcycle works. And often engine designers, technological people get tied up in peak horsepower. Even on the racetrack, that's not necessarily the case. And you'll find people who are world champions who have the choice of various tunes of engine. On certain courses may choose the lowest peak horsepower engine, but one that responds better where they need it. This is even more the case on the street, where you don't have such high speeds and you have so many changing conditions. So for each of the Buell engines, depending on the type of motorcycle it is, we specifically tune the power curve, not for a peak number, but for a broad power, something that will give you immediate response for a passing opportunity. And yet at the same time, if you get in gravel or dust and the tire starts to slip, won't let the engine jump away from you. It's very important to work on this. It's funny that there's not even a term for it, because people talk about peak torque, peak horsepower. There's a density, there's an area under the curve that's very crucial in making the power always where you want it and not where it might surprise you. Very, very important part of making a great street motorcycle. The overall performance of the motorcycle is actually very complex, and it depends entirely on the customer. The person who's going to be riding the motorcycle is what we think about when we're designing the bike. So all of the performance characteristics have to be tailored for what that person's going to need, and it makes it a very complex group of things to put together. Peak numbers never matter, real specifics, but how it all works together. And that combination is something that we work very hard to attain. It has to be the complete package for that customer, for that motorcycle. I can sometimes drive my engineers crazy by being picky about it. They'll come up with a solution, and I'll ride the motorcycle and say, no, that's not right. Think about how the rider will ride this bike. Performance, again, for me in a motorcycle, the motorcycle is part of me. It must be what I want, what the customer wants. We're just looking for people who want to have fun riding motorcycles. How can Buell appeal to so many different types of bikes, riders? Oh, it's an easy bike to ride. It's a bike to be gentle with, to use soft hands on the reins, as we say when you're riding horses. A bike that's your partner while you're riding. So as such, it can respond to a very early beginning rider because it's gentle, it's easy to handle, and also to a very experienced rider who no longer wants to be shocked or frightened. He wants a motorcycle that's his partner. So we're looking for people who like to relax and enjoy the ride. That's what we're going to deliver on Buell. So we want you to enjoy your life and enjoy your motorcycling.